What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Should have like and sub, and let's get into this. So, right out of the gate, Dustborn was a failure. Never even more than 100 people playing it. Right now, it's got like 30 people. Don't think it got more than 83 in all time. So we found out that this has had a bevy of funding from Norwegian. Let's just say certain companies that specialize, including tax dollars, also in giving these type of games the funding they need, because without that funding these games wouldn't be made. And the reaction has been exactly what you think about a plot that came out of the 2016 elections and features a cast of heroes that are anything but. And actually, the more gameplay we watch of this, the more despicable the main character and their friends act. Excuse me. Turns out these people who virtue signal don't know what actual virtue is. And to that end, that people actually playing it have been pointing out these hypocrisies, much like Madame Savvy, who we will be talking about in a second here. But you can see Red Thread Games released a message to the community saying, since we first announced Dustborn, we've read your comments and listened to your feedback. Hope all 80 something of you hopes and wishes for the game. Over the past 4 years, our team has poured their hearts into telling a story that's deeply meaningful to us. A story about the power of words, about building a world where everyone can feel safe, about love, friendships, and robots who they're mean to. Of course, we expected Dustborn to spark conversation and debate and looked forward to engaging with our players in a positive and constructive fashion. Unfortunately, that conversation has drowned out by a tidal wave of hate and abuse, which means the majority of people that actually play this shit, because I'm don't want to be disingenuous. Yes, the numbers have been very low, under 100 on Steam. This is on console, of which I do not have access to what the player count is on Xbox and PlayStation. I can't imagine it's much higher. So let's be generous and say they got 100 people on each one of those. So maybe 300 people worldwide. And still, well, that would mean that the vast, much like Acolyte, it's either this super loud minority or it just seems the majority of anyone that plays it didn't like it. We welcome thoughtful feedback and respectful criticism. We embrace discussion and debate, but we have zero tolerance for hate, what blah, blah, blah. You know how they do. Any debate, any real criticism of the game, they just dismiss as all the hate and isms. And Aquatic Dream, of course, who is the other bit of that funding, if it's not tax subsidizing or the weird ghosts of Norwegian, game production, basically saying the same things and dismissing any criticism as hate and toxicity. Savi, our friend Savi here, who decided to write a goddamn book. I mean, look at all of this to them. So she did play the game. So, look, there's a lot here. I was trying to hone in on some of the more. She's specifically pointing out that a lot of the things you do in the game are anything but people would do as heroes, including bullying other people and lying about drug addiction and other things like that. I think this is a big one where she says, I'm surprised you didn't touch on the pro-life aspects of the game. 4 months pregnant and something you don't learn until 8 hours of the game when the pregnancy is finally acknowledged. Suddenly everyone knows. But even more interestingly, at 4 months in the womb, she claims she can feel the child, hear it, and even by the end claims it to be her source of strength. These are the same type of people that they're advertising to, that have the amounts of abortions they've had crossed off on their arms like a goddamn World War II fighter pilot. The ones that wear t-shirts bragging about it. So yeah, very ironic indeed. What a hodgepodge of messaging they have. Not too sure how people with powers who admit to being con artists can be oppressed, or people with money. Gnome is rich and Pax openly manipulates people to avoid situations. So again, just going through how their own game doesn't make sense according to their own ideology. Interestingly enough, Justice, who are supposed to be the villains and the Donald Trump stand-in, basically, of the military, America, Justice is never actually shown to do anything wrong. When you visit your own mother, she is running a cult in the woods. And like any cult who needs to make money, they grow illegal plants, opium to be exact. It's also interesting how we are forced to bully and lie about Fred, the barefoot ginger queen, who just wants us to leave. If the mother is so caring and good, why would she put people in harm's way by way of growing opium? And this just goes on and on. We've seen them bullying the robot drivers and etc. etc. So it turns out anyone, and Savi certainly did, playing the game is just, well, they're finding a bevy of things to be upset about. So you can see here once more, at least on Steam, all time of 83, peak amount of players 40 in the last 24 hours, 30. I just checked it, it was 30. So yeah, they got a group. I'm not unconvinced that they don't have just the dev team with the games on somewhere so that it always shows up. I'm a professional, so that the game always shows up as at least 30 people playing it. Again, and no word on what console has, but oh boy, have you checked out Dustborn yet? Have you watched some of the videos just to see if it was as bad as people were talking about? Spoiler, it is. Let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And, well,
bye.